Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will be discussing one more interview question which is asked in big MNC companies. So this question is asked in Walmart. So I will be solving this question in the Databricks notebook. And similar to this question, I have curated a lot of questions and I have created a complete playlist which contains a lot of videos in which I have explained all the interview questions with different approaches, the tips and tricks, how you can approach different questions. And if you go ahead, watch each and every video of this playlist, then it will really help you in cracking the interviews. And I'm quite sure you will be able to crack the interviews if you practice every question that I have covered in this playlist. And the group that I've created a channel for you guys. If you want to go ahead and get all the interview updates, job updates, then go ahead and subscribe to that WhatsApp group and it will give you all the notifications related to different courses, jobs, interviews as well. So I will pin that in the description. And let's get started with today's question that is asked in Walmart. This is a very famous question. It's a little bit tricky, I would say, that you need to practice it by your own so that you get a hands-on and you can clear the interviews. So let's get started. Okay, so in this question, you can see there is an input table, which is a transaction table. And there is another table, which is the balance table, or you can say the current amount table. So let me just type this. This is the balance table and this is my transaction table. Okay. So now I want to see here, there are some credits, there are some debits. So what is my final amount that is remaining in my bank account? So if you will see, there is a credit for customer ID 1, which is 50, and there is a debit of customer ID 1, which is 90. So if you will see, the total amount is here 90 here and 50. So 50 minus 90 is actually 40, right? So if I deduct 40 from 5,000, then it's 4,960. So that is my final balance. Similarly, for customer ID 2, there is 100 is the credit and debit is 50. So there is a difference of 50. And if I go ahead, there is a debit is more, right? So I need to subtract the current amount and the debit so that I will get my final balance and so on, right? So let's go ahead and go to our notebook and try to solve this question. In this, first of all, I will go ahead and connect my resource, that is my cluster in the Databricks. And from the PySpark.sql.functions, I will be importing a lot of functions. And apart from that, I will also be importing the StructType and also the functions like the sum, when, and Coalesce because I will be using them. If you want, you can pause the video for a minute and think about how you can approach this particular question. This is a very famous interview question. It's not only been asked in Walmart, but in different companies. So you should be aware of how to exactly solve this question. So let me first create the data set using the struct method. If you don't know how to create a schema or how to create a data frame, I will pin the video in the I button. You can watch it from the video, how exactly to create a data frame and the schema attached to it. So this is my data frame, transaction data frame, and this is my another data frame, that is my amounts data frame, right? Now let me calculate the total credit and debit amount per customer. So if I have to calculate the total credit and debit amount of customer, what I need to do? I need to group the complete transaction history by customer ID, and I need to go ahead and sum all the credits and then sum all the debits, right, to get all the credit and the debit amount per customer. So let me do an aggregation of my transaction. In this aggregation of my transaction, I will be going ahead and grouping it. Let me do one thing. I have this a lot bigger name, so I'll just shorten it up so that it helps me to write it down quickly. And this is my amount, so I'll just make this as AMTS, right? Okay, so my the aggregation transaction is my transaction DF. I will group it by the customer ID and I'll aggregate this. What I will need to aggregate? I need to aggregate all my credits and debits. So I will check first whether my column is having the credit or whether it is a debit, right? So in this, I have my column transaction type. Let me check my spelling of transaction type. So this is my transaction type. So this transaction type, if this transaction type is equal to credit, right, then I will go ahead and give the transaction amount as total credit. Let me alias this as total credit. And similarly for the debit. Now let me do an aggregation transaction dot show. Let's see if there's any syntactical error. No. So this is for each customer ID, I am creating a total credit and total debit amount. Once I have the total credit and total debit amount, what I will do is I will join this particular data frame with my amounts data frame. And what I need all the data that is there of amounts data frame. So what I mean is I will go ahead and create a final DF in which I have my amounts DF. I will join it with my aggregation transaction DF. And how I want to do it? I want to go ahead and do it on my customer ID, right? So this is my customer ID. Now how I want it in my left join. So if I do it, let me do a show of this particular thing. So you see here I have done a left join with my amounts table with my aggregation table here. So with my customer ID. So what I need is, if in case I want my total credit here, right? And if in case the total credit is there, then I will create a column here and I will handle the null values basically. And for handling the null values, let's do that. Okay, so it's final DF. So I'll create another column. I'll just replace this total credit. And what I will do is I'll handle the null value. So for that, if in case my total credit is null, then I will put it as 0. Okay. So what I will do is this total credit is there. So if in case the total credit is null, then I'll put it as literal 0, right? Not 0. So what I will do is I'll put this in the column format. Similarly, I will do it for my debit. So now let's run this final df.show. So here now my null values are being replaced by 0. Now my next step will be to calculate my final balance. What is my final balance? It's my total credit and minus total debit plus my current amount. So what it means is current amount plus my total credit minus total debit is my final balance. So I will go ahead and replace the final df with my column. I'll create another column called final balance. In this, I will use my current amount plus my total credit minus my total debit. So this is my complete df now. So let me go ahead and run this. Final df.show. Right, so this is my final df.show. Now what I need is, I don't need all the details of it. For each customer, I just need my final balance. So for that, I will go ahead and select just the customer ID and the final balance. I'll do a show command here to show. So this is my output, that is my customer ID 1 is having final balance 4,960, customer ID 2 is having final balance 5,950, customer ID 3 is having final balance 7,943 and 4 is having 10,000. So if you will see here in this particular example that I showed you, you have to calculate the transaction, and this question is a real-time question basically, because you are actually doing a transaction with your bank. It has to go ahead and calculate it. And if you get a project which you are working in a bank project, then this is a very common thing that you will be doing on a day-to-day basis. So what you need to do is, you need to get the total credits, you need to get the total debits. After you get the total credits and total debits, then per customer you are actually going ahead and combining it with your amount data frame, and once it is combined with your amount data frame, then you are actually calculating the final balance by actually current amount plus your total credit minus your total debit, right? So this is how you actually approach this question, and this was asked in Walmart. I hope you have understood how to approach it, and I hope you have liked this video. If you have liked the video, then do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. And do not forget to watch the complete playlist or the interview series and practice them well. Till the next video, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.